So getting started, I'm really excited to share. I really like delving into online reviews. So today our topic is responding to them, and especially that topic about responding to the negative ones as well. These are the topics that we'll cover, and we are on our third session for online reviews. So in the first two sessions, we covered why they are so important. So if you didn't watch those, or if you still find you have a few questions, feel free to go back and watch the previous sessions. Just an important recap on reviews, and that is when we think about our online reviews, it's really important to come back to our business and think about how important are our customers to us. So asking ourselves that question, like how much are we basing our actions and how we approach our business as to how people are receiving it and what they're saying about it. So is your customer at the heart of all your decisions? Is customer feedback integrated into your culture? Are you constantly seeking to improve your customer experience? And do you evaluate your reviews to see where your strengths and weaknesses are? And do you thank and reward your customers? So these are really important topics. When we think about how we can use anything for our business, we really need to think about what is the feedback that we're getting for our business, and are we taking that on board, whether it's positive or negative. So how to respond to reviews. It's really important that we understand that we need to respond to all the reviews that our customers have taken the time to leave these valuable feedback for us. And I do like to explain it in a way that if we think that we're seeing one of our customers face to face and they give us feedback about our particular product or how they've experienced our service and they say it's great, we don't tend to just stand there and say nothing. So we will always respond to them and say, thanks very much. It's really great to hear that. So it's the same thing as online. So when people give us, they take the time to make that effort to write that review, no matter what type of review it is, it's really important that we respond to it because it shows that we value that customer's feedback. So another example too is that the reason why responding to reviews is a really great thing is that Google, especially just for the Google My Business platform, Google has said that it does favor businesses that do respond to their reviews and you're active on that platform. So it's really important for SEO too that you are making that effort. It gives you a chance as well to demonstrate your customer service. So if we see a review platform, say for example for us or for yourself, you're investigating or researching a particular holiday that you want to take, and you're maybe having a look at a few tours that you might like to go on. So you'll go and have a look around and see what people are saying about that particular product. And so also by seeing the responses, then you can really get a sense for a business about how and what their relationship is with their customer. And with our reviews as well, it's always a great thing to be unique with our responses. And if we've got any information that we can give in the time that we're leaving a response to a review, then it's really important that if there's an opportunity there to give extra information, that we can do that as well. So, and it's always a good practice to make sure that every response that we give is personalised and it's not just the same copy and paste text. So what about the negative reviews, the juicy stuff? So there is good news and bad news. The bad news is it's going to happen. So if it hasn't happened already, it's going to happen. And the best thing that we can do is have a plan in place to know what to do when this happens to us or happens to our business. So what is it that we do? The first step that we take is nothing. So contrary to all I've been saying, the first thing that we do is we do nothing. We don't respond. So we don't respond straight away. So it's really important that obviously when we have been left a bad review, and if that has happened in your business, you can probably resonate and remember how it felt. And it isn't a nice feeling. And so because we are so affected by it, it's really important that we don't respond in that moment. So we need to have a cup of tea, take a breather, go for a walk, and really try and disperse and offload that energy that we're feeling from that negative response. So once we've taken the time to calm down and we haven't responded, and even if you feel that you really need to respond, then you can go away and you can write it out on a piece of paper, or you could type it out in a separate document or something just to get it out of your system. But it's really important that we don't respond when we're feeling those feelings. And step 2 is to investigate. So once we've calmed down, start to look at the situation logically. So what is it that's happened? And does the reviewer have grounds for their feedback? And are they right? So that will help us determine where we go to from here. Step 3, identify. So identifying the issue that's happened and talk about it with your staff members or a friend or colleague. So we can have this discussion with other people and we can talk about, okay, what's happened, and trying to identify, get to the bottom of the story and to see what's actually happened here. And step 4, remedy. So if there has been an issue where there's been fault on your part, talk about how you can work to resolve this feedback. So is it solvable, and is there any, like, by talking about with your team members, what is it that you could offer to try and remedy it? So that's the bad news, is that it's going to happen if it hasn't happened already. And these are the first steps that you can take to try and help make the most out of this bad situation. So the good news, I hope you're ready for the good news, is it can actually help your business. And it's really hard to understand this when we are so caught up in how offended we are. But when we start to remove ourselves from that situation, we can start to see how it can help our business. So what we do is we respond as if we're responding to all of our amazing customers, and maybe those potential customers as well. So when we are going to write our response for this review, we really want to approach it from a point of view that we're not actually writing it for this particular customer. We're writing it for all the people that are going to be reading it. So it's going to give us a chance to demonstrate how it is that we behave in these situations. So you can imagine that if we did take to the review like a keyboard warrior with all our anger, and how our past or our present or future customers might read that response, it's probably not going to appear too good in our favor. Whereas if we can read a response that has been thought out, it's obviously we're calm and we're addressing certain aspects of this reviewer, then it's going to be received a lot better by our potential or our already customers. So the first thing to do is, when we are responding to this negative review, is acknowledge the problem. So this is when you're actually physically typing it out. So we want to acknowledge the problem and we want to emphasize with our reviewer. And I'll have a good example for you too in a little while. So it's relaying back to them what it was that they thought that the issue was, and then apologizing for how they felt. So apologizing, so as I just said, for how they felt or experienced your product. So depending on the bad review, if it's warranted or not, offer to take the conversation online. So if it's something that, if it is maybe it might be a review or a suggestion or a complaint that you have found that has actually come up quite a few times in your reviews. So this is where you may start to think, okay, there is something that's happening here that's a little bit of a pattern. We need to talk about it with our staff members, and then you can have that opportunity as well to take it offline with the customer. So if it's something that you feel that you would like to discuss further with them to offer them compensation or some sort of incentive to get them back, you can, rather than doing that online, because you don't want everyone to take advantage of that offer, but you can put a sentence in there that says that you'd love to chat about it further to see how you could rectify the situation, and put your phone number in there or your contact details. So as I said before, to use the review to demonstrate how you respond to negative feedback. So for an example here, we've got one of our Grampians project that we had a Grampians project with, and one of the operators there in our coaching session, he talked about how him and his wife have received this review. So this is our this is Acacia Ridge Caravan Park in the Grampians in Victoria. And so these guys have got a really good review, overall review rating. And when they brought this up in their coaching session, they were still quite affected by it. And they were even saying how they'd lost a fair bit of sleep over it as well, and they hadn't responded to it. And the reason that they hadn't responded was because they didn't want to add any more fuel to this situation. And this is quite a common excuse too for businesses not responding to negative reviews, is that they feel they don't want to give this person any more fuel, or they don't want to give them any more energy. But when we switch to that customer perspective, that we're responding for all of those people that are, all of our customers, then it's a lot easier to come from that place when you're doing your response. So I helped Kayleen and Matt, I talked them through these steps that I've outlined in the previous 2 slides about how to respond to the review, and they drafted this. So you can see here that the person who's left the negative review is obviously very, very upset. And, I'm sure if he had a sword, he'd probably be wielding it. But you can see here with the demonstration of, I guess, anger versus calm, it's really obvious. So you can see that this person has left this review in this anger state. And then in response, you can see that the response that the owners have left are very calm. So they've thanked him for his feedback, and they've also apologised that, for his experience, that they weren't able to accommodate him because of what his needs, and not being able to address his needs. And so in this case here too, so this particular reviewer was quite upset because he didn't want to scan in with the COVID Safe app. And so this is a really great example of how they used it to their advantage. So by turning this situation around, that when other reviewers can read it, they can realise that, okay, this park is really safe. It's going by the government recommendations. It's not letting people in that aren't abiding by those rules. So for example, if there's a particular family that want to feel safe in their travels, and they want to feel that they're not putting themselves at risk, then they can choose this caravan park, knowing that these people abide by the rules and they're not able to take people if they don't want to do the same thing. So this is where a response, a good example of a response where it can help give more information about your business and your practices. So you can see there, our focus as a business is to keep our staff and our guests safe at all times, abiding by the regulations set down to us by the Victorian government. At Acacia, we are required to provide contact details for tracing, and we are using the Service Victoria app provided by VicGov. It is unfortunate that some travellers object to this, but it enables us to open the doors of our park after a hard year of business and all Victorians. So I hope you can see with that example there that it's a really great way to tackle a negative review. So I've got some homework for you guys. So what I'd like you to do is to touch base with all your review platforms and ensure firstly that all of your reviews have been responded to. If you have a recent negative review and have not responded, then follow the steps above in those 2 slides and draft a response. So as I said, once you've drafted your response, just make sure you tick off all of those boxes that you're responding, you know, emphasizing, you're apologizing, you're offering a solution if there is one. And then also demonstrating that calm behavior for the rest of your customers. And then also to get someone to proofread it for you. So if you have a negative review from the past that you've already responded to, then review it. So did you take into considerations the suggestions that I've outlined in this session? And what could you improve? And also, if you could print or write or save out the negative response plan so you have a go-to. So if you do have staff that are responding to reviews or it's part of their job description to do that for your business, then make sure you've got a little plan there for that occurrence. So if it happens, that you actually have something that you're like, okay, this is what I need to do. So you can save that keyboard warrior destruction if it's going to happen. All right, so thank you very much. I hope that was enlightening for you, and we will now move into your questions.